Hey there, welcome to Snowpal Software Development and Architecture Podcast. In this podcast, we're going to take a look at one, maybe even two if time permits, digital analytical tools. I stumbled into an article recently. I'm going to do a screen share really quick where, it spoke to a bunch of different digital analytics tools. And it got me interested because, we haven't used one necessarily at Snowpal, not as yet. I mean, we kind of use Google Analytics, if actually I take it back, but not a whole lot. But we do have campaigns and several products, as you know, and we do have campaigns published on a few different social media platforms. So in that context, this actually is something that's relevant to us, even though we haven't spent much time leveraging these tools. Since we went live with our B2B products, we spent a little bit more time the last couple of months on creating content, like content marketing and enriching our documentation alongside prospecting and things of that nature. So one of the natural additions to that to work we're going to do this year, at least in Q1 in 2024, would be leveraging some digital analytics tools. So I'm just giving you context to why that article actually resonated with me. So without further ado, let me do a screen share and we'll take a look at that. Okay, hopefully you see my screen. The article is on FullStory. I can include the link. It's on FullStory.com. You can check that out. The article is titled 14 Great Digital Analytics Tools on the Market Today. For if you're new to this, if you don't know what this means, let's just sort of get started because I spent about 20 minutes or so. Usually, we hop on these podcasts and hit record, which is exactly what I did in the last one. But when I actually signed up for a free plan, I had to do a couple of things, and I had to pull my camera out, which the camera I used to do the actual recording of the podcast. So I had to, long story short, I'm having to redo the initial 20 minutes. So my experience on this tool that I'm going to show you is no more than 15 minutes, I promise, right? So let's just look at some very little theory and then we'll get more hands-on. What is digital analytics, right? It's the practice of gathering. I'm going to read it from here. It's the practice of gathering, analyzing, and interpreting data from digital sources. It's a critical component of any successful online marketing strategy, as they say it here. I'm reading it verbatim, right? Quote, it helps you understand how people interact with your website and identify where improvements can be made to boost conversions. That's the gist of it, right? You have products, you have web applications, you want to get a sense of how people are using your product and make improvements, right? The whole idea behind these tools is for you to answer plenty of questions that you might have, or you probably don't have, but actually should have. Essentially, that's the essence of it. Now, what do these tools do? They provide detailed insights into customer behavior, allowing you to optimize your web pages, marketing campaigns, and other online initiatives with confidence, right? So it's going to, the difference between these tools, the options available is going to be the user interface, what kind of charts it supports, what kind of analysis it does, and how easy does it make your job. So you can take the information that you have, that it presents to you and make improvements to your products and offerings, essentially, right? That's the idea. So the first product they have in this list is, no surprise, their own product, FullStory. So that's the one I had signed up in the last podcast, and then I had to redo it, like I mentioned earlier, right? So we're going to look at FullStory, and if you have time, you might look at one more product, and we can go through the other ones in this list essentially. Now, again, I have no insights into any of these products. I'm not, suggesting. Just like any other podcast, I'm just going to share my experience. We're going to learn together. I'm not recommending one versus the other. You can make your own decisions, obviously, right? Okay, so let's start with FullStory. Am I sharing my screen? Yes, I am. What I had done was essentially I signed up for a free plan. It sent me an email and I confirmed the account, right? Pretty standard process, much like what the process we have for signups on snowpal.com. So I did that and I pointed it to one of our lower environment deployments, not to a production deployment. Here, what did I need to do to configure it, right? I signed up, just entered some. I wish I actually had it in the recording, but since I've already done that and I'm re-recording this, I'm unfortunately not able to go through the steps again. But here is what I did. Let me see if I can go to notifications. Is there settings here? I'm sure we can find it, but I'll tell you what I did. Went into our, did I, no, that's the API application. Sorry, yep. Here we go. This is our UI app. So essentially you can go to snowpal.com and check it out for yourself. It's a project management platform. It's got plenty of features around project management. I didn't point to the production environment, which is essentially what this is. In this example, I just pointed it to a lower environment, something's internal to us for our, development and testing purposes, right? Standard lower environment. That's what I actually did. So let me go tell you what I did. There's multiple ways that they let you actually integrate. One is you could use Google Analytics and do, they're given a couple of steps, or you could take the snippet that they provide and add it to your pages. Like in this case, I've added it to our landing page. This is a HAML page, right? They provide the HTML snippet. I just took the HTML snippet, converted that to HAML, and I added that here. So it says FullStory.com. It's got all of this code, this uglified code, if you will, of the snippet, essentially. So once you add the snippet, this is what I did. Added the snippet, created just a test branch, if you will, on Git, and pushed this to, deployed this to our lower environment. That is all that I did. I took this code literally, the code, the HTML version of this code, if you will, converted that to HAML, put that here, and then deployed to production. And once I did that, and after I did that, I started using, again, this is an internal environment, started using this, created some data. Let's say I do something like, actually, let me go here. Let me create a new key called Digital Analytics Tools. I'm going to say, we'll create a block and just call it, the first tool we're analyzing here is FullStory. I'm going to say FullStory, one step deeper, setup, and then the next one could be, I don't know, review, conclude, right? I'm just creating random data here. Again, the R is a project management platform that you can use to structure content. However, whatever content you want to structure and however you want to do it. So I'm just doing it, this is the Kanban view. So we have 3 parts: conclude, review, and setup. We're not going to add much data here, but I'm just creating some content, right? Just so you get the, so we have a way to look at the tool here. So I'm going to go back, go to charts, I'm going to go to blocks, FullStory, and then we have a bunch of blocks here, right? That's good enough. Now let's go to the tool. Again, after I added the snippet, published, deployed it, and started playing with our product for like a couple of minutes, I saw that this started reflecting the activity, right? Now I go to segments, everyone. This is the tool essentially. So added the name of the company here. Oh, there is settings here. Yep, you can go to data capture. You can plug in the name. This is a lower environment and this is a production environment, right? I added it, but I have not deployed the changes to a production environment, so it's not starting to capture it. So you can look up, some of the settings and add more domains, right? If you want to add more domains, you can add more domains, etc. Let's get out of this. That's all I had done before I hit record. And now let me go to everyone. And since this is a specific lower environment with pretty much nobody else using it, so you don't see any activity, not much at least. And the idea behind this is for us to just see the activity that we perform right here, so we can tie those together. Okay, so let me refresh it. It says, because I had set it up earlier, before the call in the previous recording, it has another user. But let's go with the one that has the maximum events, right? It says new visitor, 104 events, online. So I can click here. It tells you the location of that particular user. Total in-app time was about 40 minutes because it was 25 minutes before in the last podcast, and maybe I'd signed into the app probably a few minutes earlier. So it gives you some information here. You can download the user events or the user pages. Let's not do that just as yet. Let's go here. Let's look at actually online. And this is going to show us all the activity, right? Before we go to the previous activity, I'm actually going to, it will let me do, oh, did I go too far? Actually, let me go back in there, online. It actually can give me a live view. Let me see. Okay, this is everything that it says I had done previously. So it's essentially showing all the activity that happened for that particular user, right? So you're able to get all details. What did they do? Which page did they go to? What did they click? What time did they do? What were their what actions did they perform? Who performed it? And at what time did they perform those actions? So it gives you a lot more insights into what's going on. Now this is just a flat list of everything that happened, but we look at more analytical perspective, right? So essentially, well, let's see if that gives us any charts or anything of that nature. We can do filtering. We can say, show me just the click events. Show me, I don't know, like navigation. This tells me where did I go from, where did I go to. I went into a key. I looked at the details of the key and so on and so forth, right? So let me actually clear those. So we see all the events here. I want to get actually a live view. I know there is a way to get before we look at some of these other things. Let's see. Let's go to the very end here. I spotted that earlier, but it actually did give you like a live view. Maybe it's not on this page. Page insights, session replay. Don't want the replay. Let me go back here. New this week. Just watch sessions. Maybe real time. Yeah, that's what I probably needed to click. Oops, I don't know what happened there. Okay. I'm going to click play. And it keeps going back to the previous. Okay, let's see. What is this? Rewind. Nope, I don't rewind. I don't want to pause. I'm going to go here. User trends, top users, event sequence. We will look at some of these today, but I want to first see. Because I did see the live event earlier. Okay, all templates. What kind of templates do they have? They got a bunch of templates, producer, product manager dashboard, device types, weekly active users, see users in real time. That's what we want to do. See users in real time. Okay, this is the user. Actually, why don't we go here and do something maybe? Okay, I'm going to go here. Clicked a couple of times. Still don't see the live option here. This is telling you everything that is on the console as well. So these are like debug messages we've published to the console. So it's showing you those messages too. So you get a pretty good insight into what actually transpired when the user was using your system. Let me actually close this. I don't want that. There's the live activity. Okay, let me go back in here. Digital analytics tools, FullStory. Let's conclude up. Not yet, because we are still working on it. Okay. Let's come back here. I did not note and share. I'm reviewing user number 1, save. I guess you can collaborate with your team members. If you shared this with other members of your team. I just signed up, didn't do anything else, so I'm just not going to worry about it. It tells the location that this user is actually logging in from Ashburn. Cumulative layout. Where is the live version of this? Okay, it tells you the clicks and all those things. This is a different user. This is something that happened before we got onto this recording here. So on all sessions. This is everything that happened. So you can review the entire user's activity and you can tell if they got stuck somewhere, where did they spend most of the time. So you get more details and you can either, analyze a user, a group of users for whatever reason, whatever work you're trying to do there, or understand how users in general are using your application, right? So it could just depends on what kind of information you're trying to collect, and that is obviously going to span the spectrum depending on the type of problem you're trying to solve at any given point of time. But let me, okay, most clicked, most error clicked. We look at what rage clicked and dead clicked actually means here. But again, I definitely do want to find out why the live version. Is there some button I'm not actually? Let's go back. Past 30 days. Nope, I'm only interested in today. So far there's one active, daily active user, top users, top pages. Okay, it just shows the dashboard pages just because it's kind of where I've been going to all the time. Kind of interested. There is a live version. Anyways, I can't seem to find the button here. Earlier it actually showed me, it let me actually view it live essentially. As the user was performing the action, I was able to track it. Maybe we'll find it before we end the session, but let's see, right? So top users, it tells you how many events and what kind of activity, events per session, the length of time they're spending doing whatever it is that they're doing. So, when you scale your applications, scalability, completely random context is you want users to be using your system as much as they can, right? Ideally you want to bring them back. You don't want them to leave your system applications at all. At the same time, it just depends. If it's social media apps, it's one thing. Other times, you want people to be able to do what they are intending to do to be productive as quickly as possible and get out, essentially, if you will, of your application, because then you're able to scale much better. That does not mean, I'm not suggesting that your users spend the least amount of time. Not really, right? It's to the contrary, quite to the contrary. But you want to be able to let them do as much as they can in the quickest time possible. So you are able to scale as well. Because if it takes the user 10 minutes to do something, and if they could have really done that in like 30 seconds or a minute, the other 9 minutes is one adding to their frustration. They're not able to do things as quickly as they should in this day and age. And three, as tens of thousands of users and millions of users use your system, the more people hogging your bandwidth and you're using your resources is going to mean that you're going to have to actually scale either horizontally or vertically that much more for no good reason. You do want to scale, you do want people using your system for as long as possible, but not by actually stretching, work to fill that time, if that idiom makes sense in this context, but by them actually being able to be the most productive by using an application. Hopefully you got the point there, right? Okay, so the session length, it needs to be shorter. You want them to be engaged, but at the same time, it also needs to be shorter so you get the confidence that they're actually able to get stuff done in the quickest possible time. Again, it all depends on the nature of the business, nature of your business. It's very different from social media apps where you want folks to spend all day long and all week long, all year long doing nothing else but using those. Most other systems, non-social media systems and apps are different. The purpose is different. So the nature of analysis that you're going to do clearly depends on the product, the business, the domain, and the type of customers who are actually leveraging, using those applications. Okay, so what else do we look at? Yep, so they have a session length and then an active time as well, right? So you could actually use them to tell the difference. And let's look at their documentation at this point. Let's say FullStory session length. What defines a session? Why do I see longer periods of inactive time after reading blah, blah, blah. You can read this documentation. I'm not just going to spend time reading it here. I'm just going to pull up some examples to see how good their documentation is. Can FullStory measure how long someone is on the page? Yes. Time on page measures the time a person spends on page view. Let's see if we go to... So they have something called frustrated sessions and rage clicks. Let's see. Frustrated sessions. What are frustrated sessions? Beneath every search and segment, you'll find a frustrated sessions card. It shows up to 10 sessions, blah, blah, blah. Uses a combination of proprietary heuristics such as rage, dead, and error clicks or high rates of abandoned forms to find frustration events. It's a very subjective word. So I guess if there is a form, someone filled 4 fields, but before they click submit, they'd abandoned it. I guess this tool will help. That'll be pretty cool, isn't it? If it can actually find those situations, which it promises to do, and tell you like, hey, somebody who spent time on your form, so you can make UI UX improvements, saying, hey, this form has like 15 different fields. A lot of your users went to the form, filled 60% of it, and then abandoned it, which tells you that you need to change your user experience and maybe even your user interface in that scenario. So that's what frustrated sessions is. Let's see what rage clicks are. They have something called rage clicks. What are rage clicks? When users repeatedly click or tap on an element indicating frustration. So I guess they have an example here, maybe. Let's see what the example is. 10 rage clicks. I don't know what they actually did, but that seems to be like it has some rage clicks there. Okay, let's get out of there. So given that I know there is one rage click here. Let's see because I try to click on some of them intentionally so to simulate a rage click. Let's see, total rage clicks. There's a dead click. Does it tell me anything more about that? It says element users. Doesn't seem to be clickable. Okay, the device breakdown, it tells you how somebody was using it. They're using it on Chrome. Now I actually try to log into Firefox and log into our lower environment app that we're looking at here on Firefox and Safari as different users, but I didn't see it capture it. So I have a feeling maybe it goes by by IP, meaning it only captures one per IP. So in the real world, it's unlikely that your user is accessing your application on two different browsers. Maybe possible, but perhaps very unlikely. So you don't have to worry about it, but I can tell you that it did not capture that. It only shows Chrome, but I actually have an active session here. I did at least, right? On a private browser. Do I remember? Okay, see, I have this here, and I also had it on Firefox, which I do. So even when I did that, it actually did not reflect it, right? That much I can tell you. So it's probably decides that, it's probably going to only pick one set of activity, maybe the first, because I logged in via Chrome the first time on this machine. Okay, so it has referrers, top UTM sources. What is UTM? Digital Analytics user something. Urchin tracking module. UTM one of these track performance from digital marketing campaigns. It's a simple code that can be attached to any URL to generate Google Analytics. Okay. So if you want to tell more specifically which page someone is using, I guess you could add these UTM. Let's look at digital analytics UTM example. So let's say you have these, the 5 UTM params recognized in Google Analytics: campaign source, campaign medium, the name, the term, and the content. How do I create my own UTM codes? Yep, see, it's query string params, right? You have Google, blah, blah, blah. You can add that to your tracking URL essentially for it to generate more data, right? So if you're an organization either doing digital analytics for yourself, for your products, or you're a company that's consulting or in the business of actually helping out other clients, you would be using this, right? But how you would be using it kind of varies. In our case, we have our own products, and let's say we set up digital analytics to manage and monitor what's happening with our products that we've published to production. We would do it a certain way. Now, if we outsource this work to a different company, a digital analytics company, they might use one or maybe multiple tools, and we can look at that to see, okay, what does it mean to use a combination of tools? Do they use a singular tool and give you results coming out of that tool? Or do they use a combination of tools and they have a way to federate, results coming from across these tools and give you more, richer information? I don't know. If I were a digital analytics consulting agency, that's what I would be looking at. But if in our case, since we are a product company that needs to do something like this to solve our own needs with our own products, our approach would most certainly be slightly different. Okay, so that's UTM campaigns, UTM sources, and mediums. We saw these terminologies. We're like close to a half an hour in. So yeah, let's go through this quickly. I'm trying to keep this to less than like 45 minutes, right? What kind of insights would you like to see? I'm going to say engineering. And what do you really want to know? Session length or something like that, right? I'm going to submit. Okay, so they're going to take that feedback and probably make some improvements. Slowest pages. I'm running this again in a lower environment. So certainly in production, it's not going to take anything anywhere close to this. This is also when we signed up the first time, right? So when you sign up, we ask you to confirm your account, and it's telling you that page took a little bit over a second to actually render. Okay, let's go back here. Let's look at refresh. And you can run some filters, add any user if you want to track a particular user. Now, I'm wondering, you could do something like this on DataDog on a tool such as that as well. I reckon, right? Let me see, DataDog, digital analytics. I'd be surprised if they don't support something like this. Is DataDog an analytics tool? So DataDog you can use it for a number of other reasons as well. But I have a feeling, just looking at this, I would be surprised if DataDog does not actually have some sort of a plugin or support for analytics. So Maybe in this list of tools, do they even have DataDog? No, they don't. Let's see, DataDog as a digital analytics. I mean, DataDog is primarily meant for monitoring and observability, but I think given what I'm seeing here, I reckon they probably have some support for this as well. We can do a separate session on it. DataDog is a much broader, different topic, different product. But at least that's what it looks like. But anyways, you can create these filters, and I'm pretty sure you can set up alerts after you create these filters. So it tells you the top users. In this case, it's just me, and I can have event sequence. I guess I can say page visits if I want to track a particular page or track a particular event. There are 2 frustration events. What are they? Okay, I'm just looking at notifications there. I don't know why it picked it up as a frustration event. Maybe I don't know. Maybe I clicked it once or twice. I'm not sure. But as you can see here, it gives you a lot of details. When somebody clicked, what did they click, where did they navigate to, what did they navigate from, and so on and so forth, essentially, right? So it gives you plenty of such information. If you're somebody who's a digital analyst, you want to look at this. Again, you want to ask yourself a number of questions, right? And maybe we can draw this out quickly as well. Actually, why don't we do that and then end this? Okay. Digital analytics. Okay, I'm gonna pick my usual shapes. If you know me, I always start with this. Okay, digital analytics for, I'm just going to say for client 1, as though you're a company that does this, I'm going to say for client 1 Snowpal, right? If you're not like doing it internally or something along those lines. Okay, what are some of the things I'm interested in, right? Which assets, or if I could use it interchangeably like domains, because you want to say that I want to do this for snowpal.com. Maybe I want to do it for, I don't know, some other, we have a bunch of different products. Let's say I want to do it, and I'm even going to put products.snowpal.com, what it's worth. We have mobile apps as well on the app and play stores, and we have to see how this tool, what kind of value, how do you integrate that to, to actually a mobile app essentially, right? So, you want to understand all of this, but not for a web application, but literally for mobile. But I reckon the process is going to be quite different to analyze what's happening on a mobile app versus what's happening on a web application. But we have to see what kind of support, if any, that they provide at all to begin with. Not for responsive mobile, I'm talking about literal native mobile apps like the ones we have on the app and play stores. Okay, which domains? That's one of the first things that you want to determine. And let's say you determined, okay, we're going to do for the production version, or in our case right now, we're doing it for the lower environment, right? So let me change this color. Okay, which assets and domains? What is the next thing? Okay, let's see. All users or some users. Now, let's say you have hundreds of thousands of users. You may or may not want to do it for all the users. Again, depending on how you slice it or dice it. But this is one possibility, right? Maybe there's a group of users of reporting issues to you. So you want to maybe focus on those users. Or maybe there's a category of users, right? Some users, maybe there's a categorization of users. Maybe you're having some performance or scalability issues, and folks are reporting it from, say, South Asia, for instance, right? So you might say, okay, I'm only going to look at users who are actually using my product, my application in South Asia to get to the bottom of that particular problem. Okay, so that's one way of looking at it. And let's see. Let's use a different. Okay. which pages. Maybe you want to look at only a select set of pages that you're interested in, not all the pages. Or you could say which events. Again, I'm not somebody who's done this level ever before, so I'm just, a lot of this is speculation as to what are the types of things I would be interested in knowing. So if you're a digital analyst who knows this a whole lot better than I do, which you would, I'm sure, comment, let us know how you do it, or hop on a podcast with us and we can have a very interesting conversation around this as well. Which events? Okay, let's keep going. Oops. Okay. Maybe some other thing I want to know is what times of the day or week? What times of the day or which days of the week? Right, you may want to know more details about that, right? Which pages or which events or what times of the day or which users, which assets and domains. These are many different ways you can slice and dice it any which way you want. The same problem, you want to analyze it many different ways, and we'll have to figure out how good or bad the tool is to actually facilitate and answer questions of this nature. But these are some questions I would have off the bat, right? And then maybe last but not the least, which clients? By clients, I don't mean companies or customers. I mean which clients is web or mobile, assuming it has support for mobile, obviously. Yep. Okay. What are you interested in analyzing? And you could get any more granular, like which browsers are interested in Chrome, because Chrome users are the ones you're primarily targeting because that's the market share, the majority market share. Or maybe you're more interested in responsive apps on iPhone, so maybe you're more interested in Safari. So we could even actually add it here for what it's worth. Which browsers are you interested in? And imagine getting all of this kind of data, answers around all of this. It'll help you improve, get data, analyze it, and send it to your dev or product management team to say, what, this is what I found out. These are pages. We spend like a month implementing something. Users are spending like 5% of the time, less than that, on those pages. So maybe that's not what we should spend our energies and focus and money on in the subsequent quarter or the next sprints. Let's reprioritize. The results of this, let's talk about in the subsequent podcast. In this one, I just want to just skim the surface, and we've, I think, looked at it, taken a stab at some of this. So if you didn't know anything about it a half hour ago, hopefully you know something about this now. Going further, we can look at conversions. Oh, you know what? I think the free plan doesn't support it, so let's not bother, because that's important, right? How many of your users are converting to paid users, for instance? So this is the essence of a digital analytic tool, right? This is the type of answers it provides. How much it helps you, which tool works better, depends on their features, how feature rich they are, how easy the user interface is, and how much training or how little training your new team members might need, so they can actually hit the ground running and go from there. And in the subsequent podcast, we can also look at like any reports that it generates and what kind of reports it generates, what kind of charts it might have support for, and so on and so forth. But hopefully that was at least as a starting point, as a precursor, if you will, the basics of digital analytics and a tool to see how you could use it. Maybe it answered some questions for you. I sure hope it does. That's about it for this podcast. Talk to you soon. Thanks for watching.